My name is Jose Corral. This is speech number 2, informative. These are my 2 index cards. A religion was created to give people hope in a world full of confusion and pain. There was many different types of religions in this world. As history has shown, religion is incredibly powerful, but it also has a way of being able to manipulate people very easily. Even today, many different religions have some sort of dictation on how people behave, eat, sleep, and some even have control over how people even spend their money. Not all things about religion are negative, and I know that, but there are some negative points that someone should take into consideration. So today I'm going to be discussing 2 main points that I believe support my claim. The first one's going to be about the power and control that religion has over people, and the tragedies that have happened in the past that have been caused by people following religious leaders blindly. Since the beginning, there has always been conflict with religions amongst each other, whether who is the best religion and which one is the correct one. Many different religions, including the largest religion, the Christian religion, has a pretty violent background or history. And in the center of that history is the way that they are able to control the people and their followers to be able to make them do all these malicious and violent acts. To take a look at the Catholic Church and how they climbed into as a powerhouse religion that they are today. According to a documentary that I actually viewed, it's called Catholicism: The Unpredictable Rise of Rome by Films on Demand. There are 2 key points that I pulled away from that documentary that pretty much solidify their position today. The first one is, as they stated on the video, Rome knows best. Here they specified on how Rome took to the press, or the church took to the press in Rome, on passing around the word and making the people trust them in order to get them to come into the church. The second one is what really solidified the position as the powerhouse that they are today, is what they stated as having friends in high places. So when the Pope Damasus I took control over the Catholic Church, he did the opposite of what Jesus did and included Roman nobility in his talks. And by him doing this, it gave the Catholic Church 2 very powerful positions. The first one is the height of the religious position, and the second one is a political one. So this gave the Catholic religion more power than they could have ever, hoped for. And not only do the Catholic religion have control over their followers, there are many different religions that have so many restrictions on a lot of their followers. For example, I know people, like I have a friend that's Mormon, and he says that the Mormon church take a specific percentage from his check every single paycheck. They take it from his check right out automatically. And like how the Jehovah's Witnesses, many of them don't have, have never had a birthday because they're not allowed to participate in parties. And it kind of brings to question, what does all of that have to do with faith in general? So now we have gone over what the rise of the Catholic Church and some restrictions that both Mormon and the Jehovah's Witnesses have on some of their followers. And now we're going to be going into some tragedies that have happened throughout history because of people blindly following religious leaders. So there have been many battles and wars throughout history where hundreds of thousands of people have lost their lives due to these religious leaders being able to coerce and manipulate their followers into doing, violent things. So according to David Lewin, in an article that he wrote, I'm going to quote a little passage that he wrote. Is from a journal entry for the Journal of Philosophy of Education on page 470. The quote reads that cataphatic enunciation and apophatic negation operate together to bring God, or what is ultimate, into language. Basically, it's saying that the use of words is what brings us closer to God. And that's what us as humans have a desire and a need to be closer to God, and that's what these religious leaders use and exploit. They have these false promises that these actions that these people are committing are going to bring them closer to God. Necessarily isn't true. For example, like the Inquisition, the Crusades, or even the religious wars of the 16th and 17th centuries. All these are great examples of how religious leaders were able to, talk all these people into going into war with one another, just because of what these religious leaders were saying and preaching and, teaching their followers. But one of the most known, at least nowadays, is known as the Jonestown Massacre. It's one that hits closer to home because it's one of the most recent ones. It's not as recent, but it's something that could have been avoided. According to the Encyclopedia Britannica, Jim Jones had no religious affiliation. And Jim Jones is the man that started and funded the People's Temple, which was what the religious was called. And he had no religious affiliation and no theological training, yet he was still able to open up a church in the 1950s. After he got together with the Protestant churches, he was able to get ordained. And then with him claiming that he had both healing abilities and mind reading abilities, he was able to get more support and more followers. But there was a lot of controversy on how he was treating his followers. They were saying that he was beating his followers, blackmailing them, making people sign over his houses. And when the media tried to start getting into his business, he moved his People's Temple to Guyana, to a compound that he built out there called Jamestown. There he, the people were living there, and he was holding people against their will. And it wasn't until one of the senators, Senator Leo Ryan, went to investigate to see how these people were being treated. And when he tried to rescue some of the ones that were trying to leave, they actually ended up murdering Senator Leo Ryan. And after they murdered him, that's when Jim Jones ordered what the Encyclopedia Britannica quoted as a revolutionary suicide. That's when he served the fruit drink that was spiced, or it had sedatives, tranquilizers, and cyanide in it. And he gave it to first all the children, and then after that all the adults. On the day of November 18th, 1978, it was a total of 918 people that died that day. All due because they followed and took the orders of one religious leader. So in conclusion, we've gone over the decline of Catholic religion, some restrictions that some of the other religions do have, some wars, and even some massacres that have occurred throughout history. And I'm not here to debunk religion or to talk people out of religion. I'm just here to inform people. My goal here today was to inform you at first, but now it's to challenge you. My challenge for you here today is for you to challenge religious leaders and challenge scriptures and to find your own path. And don't be afraid to challenge them and say, don't follow them just because they say you have to. My challenge is for you to find the truth, the real truth, your own truth. Thank you. Yeah.